us up on our 30-day home trial and very special price. TV Ears is a brand hearing professionals have trusted for more than 20 years. And through this special radio offer, you can get your very own for just $60. Just mention promo code RADIO. So put on your TV ears and make everyone happy. 800-984-4207. 800-984-4207. 800-984-4207. That's 800-984-4207.
Welcome to the show, Picks and Parlays here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network, also broadcasting live on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. I'm your host, Nick Geber, in for Chelsea Messenger. Find me on Twitter at Nick Geber. And look, it is the holiday season this magnificent Wednesday, November the 13th, as we get ready for Thanksgiving's a couple of weeks ago, and then we get into the Christmas time and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and what's that one that Seinfeld had? Anyway, you get into all the holidays, but there is no holiday for me that has more meaning than today's. I'd like to wish everybody a very happy National Indian Pudding Day today. Quite frankly, this is the day on the calendar that I get most excited about. Today, also, to keep you excited, we have a lot of games to talk about with our expert handicappers today. We're welcoming to the show El Guapo himself. That's right. Craig Trapp will join us after the break for his Craigulation Time segment. Then we'll be joined by Sean Higgs in a Blanket Higgs. And we'll talk a little NFL. And finally, Chip Chirimbes will join us to give us some breakdown on some college football. Those are the topics today. This is how the show works. We put free picks out there. You enjoy them. You bet on them. You do really well. You visit our website at picksandparlays.net. You also join the discussion. Hashtag Parlay Radio. Or you can find us, as I said, on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. And if you have a comment during the show, which I thoroughly recommend, by the way, we'd love to hear from you. What do you think of our picks? Who are you betting on? Do you have any picks? Let us know. We'll put them up. We'll endeavor to discuss them on the show. Producer Andrew's back from his vacation. He seems rested, tanned, and ready to go. I'm sure those social media posts will hit the screen and the airwaves immediately. By the way, college basketball season, we all know it's underway. We have a special $449. That's right, $449 for our expert picks college basketball all the way through the end of the season. Don't be a numpty. If you bet on college basketball, do yourself a favor. Get that extra information. It's going to help you make better bets. In fact, we're going to ensure you make better bets. And you know what that means? Better bets is more money. And with the holiday season just around the corner, nothing you'd like more. All right, once again, you can find me on Twitter at Nick Geber, Nickgeber. I'm going to step aside, take a break. Coming up, NBA and college basketball with El Guapo, Craig Trapp, as we welcome him for Craigulation Time. Be right back.
Are you or someone you love one of the nearly 1 million Americans living with Parkinson's disease? Every person's experience with Parkinson's is unique, and for many patients and families, that can be one of the most challenging aspects. The Michael J. Fox Foundation built a guide to health. Visit michaeljfox.org/PD360 to download the Parkinson's 360, a guide for navigating the disease. It's free and available right now. That's michaeljfox.org/PD360. Visit today.
Tonight at 10 Eastern on CNBC, an all-new Back in the Game.
Remember Ryan Lochte? At age 34, he's having to pack up his medals, downsize his home, face a very uncertain future. That's where I come in. I'm Alex Rodriguez. Now that I'm retired, I want to give back by helping ex-athletes and entertainers that damaged their reputations and their finances and want to get back on their feet.
Why did you lie?
I didn't lie. Can Ryan rebuild his career and provide a stable life for his growing family?
Back in the Game, all new tonight, 10 Eastern, CNBC. Get yours.
Men, if you want to pee easier, listen to this. A new Nobel Prize discovery was just proven in a clinical trial to help men pee 241% more, ending multiple trips to the bathroom and the constant urge to go. This breakthrough is finally available in a pill called Prostavive LS, developed by famed men's health expert Dr. Al Sears, and for a limited time, you can get a free bottle. Call 800-769-8155. Patients who've taken Prostavive LS are singing its praises.
Hi, my name is Paul, and I'm 73
up multiple times a night to go to the bathroom, but after taking Prostavive LS, I now sleep through the night.
Prostavive LS does not require a prescription, and there are no side effects. But this free bottle is not available in stores. Call 800-769-8155 to get your free bottle of this Nobel Prize-winning discovery proven in clinical trials to help men pee 241% more. That's 800-769-8155.
It has been said that everyone has a book in them. But do you have the time or the ability to write your book? Maybe you picked up some skills or had a life experience that you want to pass on in the form of a book to help others. Maybe you want to leave an autobiography for your family. Or maybe you've built a successful business and you want to share your story. At Dorrance Publishing Company, we have professional writers who can help turn your book idea into a finished manuscript quickly and affordably. A Dorrance ghostwriter can provide as much or as little help as you need to complete your book. You'll work directly with your ghostwriter to finish your book faster than you ever could on your own. It's easy to become a published author. Call Dorrance now to learn more. 800-485-6003. 800-485-6003. 800-485-6003. Call right now. That number is 800-485-6003.
All right, welcome back to the show. You're watching and listening to Picks and Parlays. I'm your host, Nick Geber. Find me on Twitter at Nick Geber. It's Craigulation time, and who else? Who better than the host himself of Craigulation time, El Guapo, Craig Trapp. Craig, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. It's midweek, of course, hump day, and when you start to look towards the weekend, start to build that bankroll for, of course, big football season, big football week ahead.
And let's not forget, bankroll for holiday gift giving. And once again, I would remind people, Andrew, put my Twitter up there again. If anyone wants to give me a lavish gift, just reach out directly on my Twitter at Nick Geber. I'll be sure to give you my, the place to send it and the dollar denomination of gift value. Okay, Craig, let's go, shall we? I know we had 4 games, one had no line. So let's not do that one, shall we? Unless it has a line all of a sudden. It's like Tony Montana. Did it just come up with a line? No. Okay, so let's start with Michigan State at Seton Hall. College basketball. The Michigan State Spartans are 1-1, 1-1 against the spread. After a close loss to Kentucky, they went on to destroy Binghamton 100-47. Last 6 games have gone under for the Spartans. In injury front, Josh Langford still out with a foot injury. For Seton Hall Pirates, it's 2-0, 1-1 against the spread. They won both their opening games by 34 and 17 points, respectively. They're 6-2 against the spread in their last 8. Guard Miles Powell was injured last game and is definitely out for this one. What do we got on this one, Craig?
Well, let's not say he's definitely out. Actually, I saw a couple spots today. They said they had thought at the time of the injury, his ankle injury, that he was definitely out. Now it's more like questionable. And this is their biggest game of the year, of course. You get in what was the number 1 team before Kentucky beat them. So Michigan State, also a big story here. Of course, Cassius Winston's brother was killed before last game. He had an inspiring game, played really well. I mean, you have to give an All-American like him to come out and to put his team first. I mean, the first half, he was like, look like Magic Johnson out there throwing dimes to everybody. Then the second half, he got going as far as scoring himself and had a very good game. I expect maybe, now that he's had a little time, and his brother was around the team a lot. So this wasn't just how it's going to affect him. I think it's going to affect all this team. I think there's a little hangover here. Even if Powell doesn't play, which I think there's a chance he will play, I like the Seton Hall team getting all these points. I think 7.5 is a lot at home in the Providence Center here at Seton Hall. I think this Seton Hall team is number 12 for a reason. It's not just about the All-American Miles Powell. I really like their point guard, Quincy McKnight. He's going to have a big matchup, of course, with Winston. I don't think you can upset Winston. He's one of those guys you just can't speed up. But I do think McKnight will hold his own, will keep him in check enough to get us the spread here, which is all we really care about. Right. So let's take Seton Hall plus the 7.5 points. Kevin Willard continues to impress here. Coach Kevin Willard has done an amazing job building the Seton Hall program. And against, of course, Hall of Famer Tom Izzo, should be a good coaching matchup too.
So Seton Hall plus 75. And you're telling me you're hearing Miles Powell is a question mark with maybe an edge towards playing. If he, how's that going to shift if he does play or if he doesn't? Or is that priced into him not playing?
I'd say this line's assuming he's not going to play, but let's be honest, if he does play, I don't think he's going to be his normal self. He's not going to go get you 25 points tonight.
Right.
But you see these players where they come out and they at least give you 10 to 15 minutes inspiration type out there. I think you might see that. And if that happens, I really like Seton Hall. Even if he doesn't play, I just think they'll play for him. And Coach Willard has done a good job building this program, and the depth on this roster is good enough to get us a 7.5-point cover at home in what will be the featured game on Thursday night.
All right, Michigan State at Seton Hall. You heard it, Seton Hall plus 7.5. Featured game on Thursday. Hey, want to welcome Alfredo Bermudez, one of our listeners and viewers. Says he's a big fan. Well, we're a big fan of you too, Alfredo. Square 707 says he took Kentucky minus 25 last night.
Ouch.
Ow, that hurt. That hurt. All right, let's move along, shall we, to some NBA action. Mavericks at the Knicks. Dallas is 6-4, 4-6 against the spread. They're coming off a 106-116 loss to Boston. They're 2-4 against the spread, and the total's gone over in 8 of the last 9 for the Mavs. The Knicks, well, one of the only 2 wins for the season for the Knicks was against the Mavs. So, they beat them 106-102 last Friday. The Knicks are 1-4 against the spread the last 5. I got Dallas minus 7.5. What have you, Mr. Trapp?
I see some lines out there even at 6.5 with the Mavs, so we're going to take that 6.5 here with the Dallas Mavericks. I think there's a little revenge spot, like you said. The Knicks got one of their wins this year at Dallas on the 8th of November. Big news here is, of course, Porzingis returning, first time returning to the Gardens, back to New York, of course, where he started his career and was an all-star there. Luka Doncic, of course, has been almost averaging a triple-double. Has been amazing this year for Dallas. I think there's a lot of revenge here against the Knicks team that just doesn't – they lack a star. Maybe R.J. Barrett will be that. The rookie, of course, is from Duke, has had a decent year, but not exceptional. Julius Randle, Marcus Morris, the other probably best 2 players. I just think Dallas is way deeper, and with revenge on their mind, I like Dallas minus 6.5 here. I think Luka Doncic and Porzingis, the 2 Euro stars, show why on the big stage. I mean, everybody goes to New York. You want to win at Madison Square Gardens. That's the mecca of basketball. I think they do just that and get a little revenge. And if you lost on them last time, hopefully you get a little revenge on your bookie as well.
Yeah, and let's face it, let's not get blinded by the fact that, one of the Knicks' only 2 wins came against Dallas in Dallas. I mean, let's face it, Dallas are, let's just make it real simple. Dallas are a good team, and the Knicks are a bad team. So, yes. I mean, we can take revenge and motivation and all the rest of this nonsense out of there because the fact of the matter is it's a bit of a mismatch. So you're going to take Dallas minus 6.5. Good choice there, Mr. Trapp. Let's move on. Hawks at Suns. The Hawks 4-6, 5-5 against the spread. They just snapped a 3-game losing streak with a 125-121 win against the Nuggets. They're 2-4 against the spread in the last 6. John Collins is suspended. Kevin Huerter is injured. That's what's going on with the Hawks. For the Suns, 6-4, 8-2 against the spread. They coming off a 115-123 loss to Lakers of Los Angeles. They're 8-2 against the spread in the last 10. 4-2 straight up in the last 6. Who have you got for this one?
Well, this is one of those interesting matchups. When you look at it, obviously the Suns they have a little more talent. They're just farther along in the rebuilding process. Hawks, of course, Trae Young's having a solid second year, even with the injury to his ankle a few weeks ago. I think he'll be back and good here. I think this Hawks team, though, is a little better than what the odds maker are giving them. I see the line at 8. I like the Hawks here getting 8 against, obviously, a very good duo, Devin Booker and Ricky Rubio. I didn't really like the Ricky Rubio pickup when the Suns got him, but it's worked out. I think it's allowed Devin Booker to get some more shots because obviously Ricky Rubio is his one thing he is really good at. He can set you up, and Devin Booker is one of the best shooters in the league. But I think one of the best shooters outside off the dribble, outside of Steph Curry, is Trae Young. I think Trae Young has a really big night. Suns aren't a great defensive team. Yeah. I mean, they gave up 123 to the Lakers just last night.
Yeah, but Craig, it was the Lakers.
Well, but the Lakers didn't play well, to be honest. I watched the game.
It's not like they're giving up 123 points to the Knicks.
Well, they also gave up 124 to the Miami Heat.
Okay, so, all right, I'll shut up then because that's a great point.
There's a reason they are allowing 110 points a game. They're only averaging 116, so the point differential is only 6.2. Hey, you're giving me 8. I'll take that.
So you're taking 8 on this one, right?
Yeah, we're going to take the Atlanta Hawks on the road, +8. I think Trae Young has a really big night here against, I think, an up-and-coming Suns team.
All right, so just to recap, we got the Hawks +8, we got Dallas -6.5, and we got Seton Hall +7.5. Huapo, those were your picks. Very quickly, how are you planning on celebrating National Indian Pudding Day today?
Well, as always, I'm going to be getting down on some of these games tonight on both Wednesday. I'm really looking forward to Thursday, of course, NFL, college football. Even got some college football action tonight. If you like the Mac Attack action tonight, I got a big play up over at picksandparlays.net, included in my 3-pack. So get it over at picksandparlays.net. Start winning and beat your bookie tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Beat the bookie tonight. Craig will help you do that. And of course, we have 35 expert handicappers on the site at picksandparlays.net. Each and every one of them wants to help you beat that bookie into submission. That's right. And you can do that with our free picks. And when you're ready, our expert picks are there for you. Please go to picksandparlays.net. If you're betting on sports, don't be a numpty. Bet with the right information. All right, up next, NFL with the Sean Higmeister. Higgs in a blanket. Higgs. We'll be right back.
He must be 18 years or older and a U.S. resident to qualify. This is not an offer or solicitation to lend. I went to moneynow100.com and got the $5,000 I needed deposited in my account the next business day. If you need money for any reason, help is here. Go to moneynow100.com and get the money you need. Need to pay off credit card debt? Go to moneynow100.com. Need your car repaired? Need home improvement money? Visit moneynow100.com. If you need fast cash for any reason, go to moneynow100.com. Good, bad, or no credit at all. Go to moneynow100.com. You could get up to $5,000 as soon as the next business day. Go to moneynow100.com on your phone, tablet, or computer. Type in the address bar moneynow100.com. That's moneynow100.com.
This is an urgent health notice for all residents suffering from back, neck, knee, and wrist pain. You may qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you, but the deadline is fast approaching. Simply call the Health Alert Hotline now.
You heard right. You may qualify for a pain-relieving back, neck, knee, or wrist brace. These items may even be covered by Medicare or your private insurance. The Health Alert Hotline is your brace company. These specialized braces have been tested for pain relief. Call us toll-free right now to determine your eligibility and to learn how to use your private insurance or Medicare to minimize your out-of-pocket cost. Don't wait. If the deadline passes, you may lose your opportunity to get a pain-relieving back, neck, knee, or wrist brace at little or no cost to you.
800-430-9571. 800-430-9571. 800-430-9571. That's 800-430-9571.
At 28, I had struggled with opiate and meth addiction for 12 years. I did and said things that the sober me never would have done. One day I realized I was not invincible. I was not exempt. And that's when a friend told me about elite rehab placement. They gave me the tools I needed to get sober, and all it took was the one phone call.
Elite Rehab can help you start to break your addiction problem and get sober in as little as 7 days. And we'll work with your insurance provider to help cover the costs. Plus, we have travel assistance programs to get you here by plane or train. Make this free call right now to learn more. 800-403-5912. 800-403-5912. 800-403-5912. That's 800-403-5912.
Welcome back to the show, Picks and Parlays, this National Indian Pudding Day, November the 13th, 2019. I'm your host, Nick Geber. Find me on Twitter at Nick Geber. Love to hear from you. We are broadcasting live on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network, American Forces, iHeart, TuneIn, and of course streaming live video right now on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. All right, lots to get to today. We're going to talk about the National Football League. Who better to do it than our very own superstar, Higgy Smalls himself. That's right, Sean Higgs joins us. Deshaun, welcome. 3 games we've curated. I think these are good ones. What do you want to start with?
I want to start with International Pudding Day.
Well, okay. So how are you celebrating National Indian Pudding Day? Have you been making your Indian pudding for the last 2 or 3 days?
I have been. I've been stocking up on cornmeal and whipped cream. I'm actually more excited about tomorrow. Tomorrow is National Pickle Day and National Guacamole Day.
Well,
and it's my son's birthday.
And
so
let me tell you
not
something.
only is my son going to get pickles and guacamole for his birthday, so I don't have to spend money on electronics. It's wonderful.
But those two things go so beautifully together, don't they? All right, just like the Bengals and the Raiders, it's a match made in heaven. Well, if you're a Raider fan, that is.
Okay. I guess we're not doing that game though.
Oh, we're not? Yes, we are. Did we change? Well, I don't know. We could do it though. You want to do it?
Well, let's just start with whatever. Yeah, why not? Whatever.
All right. Well, the Bengals 0-9. They are 3-6 against the spread. Winless after the loss to the Ravens by a 49-13 blowout. Quarterback change made no difference whatsoever. Raiders coming off a 26-24 win over Chip Chirimbes' San Diego Chargers, isn't it? Is that right, Chip? Still San Diego. That's where I thought.
It. Dan Fouts to Charlie Joyner all day.
That's right. Oakland minus 10.5, total 48.5 on this one. Boy, Bengals are just awful. Take it away.
Listen, what do you say about the Bengals? They're, you thought after seeing Week 1 in Seattle, they were right in that game. Maybe a new blood in there. They got a new coach. Inject some life into this team. No, it didn't happen. AJ Green's been out all year. Eifert's been hurt. Boyd, Mixon, Dalton's on the bench. They talk about Miami. Cincinnati's the worst team. Cincinnati's by far the worst team. I don't think they're going to win a game this year. I don't like laying 10 points with any team, and even the Raider team, who people didn't think would win 5 games. But yet here they are in striking distance of the fading Chiefs in the West. I'll lay the points here with the Raiders, and you can't even look at a total here because Cincinnati, are they going to throw 5 interceptions? You don't even know what you're against. I can't even say we're going to get – the Raiders score points. We know that. We've seen them go over. We've seen them put points up. So I guess I'll be comfortable laying the double digits here with Oakland because Cincinnati, I think, if you can go somewhere and find a ticket that this team goes winless for plus money, go get it because I don't see Cincinnati beating anybody. They got Miami on a schedule. I think Miami's, a decent team. They compete every week. Cincinnati
knock the Dolphins. They've won 2 in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, they're on fire, buddy.
But better yet, they've been covering the game, so that's more important for us as opposed to, But yeah, Cincinnati's terrible. Lay the points with the Raiders. The Raiders are going to get their 20 to 30 points. And do you think Cincinnati's scoring 10 on the road with a rookie quarterback, young guy? I don't think so. No.
Josh Jacobs?
No. No. Well, yeah, he could probably score about 3 rushing
for the
touchdowns
Raiders.
here.
I mean, last minute. That was last minute touchdown. I mean, you look at all the weapons that the Raiders have, and then you look at the Bengals, and as you pointed out, they've got Ryan Finley's taken over, and I don't know. It's going to be a massive game. I mean, the score's going to run up. By the way, Brian Bittler says the Bengals can't look worse than last week.
Well, that's the thing. It's the last thing you see. But
the problem is they probably could, right?
They've been bad. They've been bad the whole year. I mean, they're competitive a little bit, but like I said, if you think you could back Cincinnati, I can't back Cincinnati. I'd rather take a shot with the home team who's playing with a little giddy up in their step. They got still something to play for. Yeah.
By the way, I really like Derek Carr. I mean, he's having a great season. I mean, his numbers are really pretty good. 2,200 yards thrown, 14 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. I mean, a lot of good things are happening with the Raiders. I mean, they're 5-4, obviously, but that's better than they're over 500, and they're coming to Las Vegas, which makes me happy. All right, should we move on?
Let's go.
Bills at Dolphins. I know this one was on the list for sure. Bills have lost 2 out of the last 3, most recently to the Browns. They're 6-3, 5-3-1 against the spread. And the Dolphins, I mean, it is truly unbelievable. As I mentioned while we were doing the Bengals at Raiders, Square 707, by the way, as an aside, says he'll never drop his money on Cincinnati again. By the way, kind of like I feel about Man United, I'm never putting another dollar on them because they're too inconsistent, whereas Cincinnati just lose everything. All right, let's get back to the Dolphins for a minute. 2-7, 5-4 against the spread. It's unbelievable. As I mentioned, they've won 2 in a row. They are a hot team. Watch out, folks. The Dolphins are coming for you, despite only scoring 13.2 points per game. I mean, the Bills, Dolphins. I mean, okay, so they're in Florida. Yeah. I mean, the Bills minus 5.5, total 39.5. That seems kind of low to me. Or is it just because the Dolphins don't score any points?
Well, the Dolphins don't score. The Bills got a good defense, and I saw this was at 41 earlier, and even the line it opened at Bills 7. Immediately comes down because you're taking Miami in a touchdown because they've just been competitive. Now, though, this line's sitting at like 5.5. Now you got some interesting things going on here because I kind of like Miami with the bigger number. But at this number here, I'm kind of thinking to myself, Bills could get it done because the Bills, they beat up on bad teams. We see them beat up on all the bad teams. They beat the Bengals. They're beating the Redskins. They're beating the Jets, whatever. They're winning their games. But then they play like some sloppy mess versus Cleveland, This is a tricky one because you see 6-3 Bills. It's like a fraudulent kind of record because Josh Allen's a terrible quarterback.
Yeah.
But you got to give some respect over here to the Dolphins, who they're not quitting on their coach. I think they like the coach. I mean, some guys are upset. Oh, we're tanking this and that. But you know what? You've covered 5 in a row, and you've been in some of these games. You're winning some of these games. So, like I said, the number is a tricky kind of number here for me because I liked Miami to start. Now it's moved a little bit down. At this spot, though, if we're getting at 5.5 here, I think we're going to move on Buffalo because I think they got the better defense. And I like their coach. And they kind of took a bad loss to Cleveland. And that's a bad one. They should have beat that team. But here, I think they're going to get it done. Again, we're talking finally about Miami here, and they've been covering games. But eventually the talent's going to have to play out. And I think the Bills got a little more talent. I know the quarterback's not good, and they kind of pound the ball and do a couple things. But let's take Buffalo here minus the 5.5.
Well, just remember, 3 weeks ago, the Bills were 4-1. And you look at them saying, wow, what a surprise that is. And now they're 6-3. So losing 2 in a row is definitely bad news. All right, so there you have it, Bills at Dolphins. Recap, you're taking Bills at 5.5? Bills minus
5.5.
Yeah.
Bills. Yep.
Okay. Last one. Let's do the Jaguars at the Colts. The Jags 4-5, but they built that record. This is another issue, right? 4-5 isn't a great record, but that's largely been built off the back of weaker teams. They are 5-4 against the spread. They did lose 26-3 to the Texans before the bye week, which is, I think, kind of indicating an indicator of what I just said. The Colts 5-4, 4-1 against the spread. They look really bad in their loss to the Dolphins, and that had to be embarrassing for the Colts. I think they were, a 2-touchdown favorite for that game, if I'm not mistaken. The under is 13-3 in the Colts' last 16 following a loss. And Colts are -3 with a total pointage here of 44. How do you like this one?
Well, as you mentioned, Colts opened at 14, went to 11 against Miami. But, should they be laying that many with Hoyer behind center? We know Brissett wasn't playing. And this game, I think, is telling you that he might not be playing again. And I'm going to like the Jaguars here. Foles is back off a bye week. They paid this guy a lot of money. He came in, what was that, 2013, 2014 with the Eagles? He went 14-4, 6-2 when Wentz goes down, only wins a Super Bowl MVP. The guy can play when he's on the field. So Minshew kind of kept him. That's what would you expect from that? Who was expecting him to be 500 with a backup quarterback?
Yeah.
That's a team that's been struggling for a couple of years now with their offense. But in this spot, I like them. And I like the Colts. I thought people were down on him with Brissett. The guy's a good quarterback. He's not bad, but he's banged up. You got Hilton banged up. Vinatieri, the kicking game, talk about, terrible. He's literally cost them games. If Miami didn't kick a late field goal, Vinatieri missed, cost them another game. So, they got some problems. And a healthy Colts team, I'm thinking they can give KC and the Patriots a run because the defense is solid. You got Mack, a good running back. The offensive line's all right. but the offense is just stagnant right now, and I can't see him not laying points to a team off a bye week. Jags still got talent all over the place, and Foles is one of those guys who just elevates the players around him by his record when he comes in and plays. So Jags all day here. I'll take the points. I'll sprinkle some money line here. You get probably about 130, whatever the price may be. Take them. Let's go Jaguars.
Very quickly, because we just got a minute and a half. Your thoughts about this game in Mexico on the 19th, the Chiefs and the Chargers? I mean, we've seen the game in London, now we're seeing a game in Mexico City. I mean, from a betting perspective, and we literally don't have a lot of time here, what do you want to look for on that one?
Well, it's always been like you kind of play the over there because they bring in the elevation and stuff like that. But, I don't think it matters to these guys. You see them, they've played in Mexico before. They've played in London. We see these games go over. It's just, what is it for? It's just a money grabs. What it is,
of course. Spinning.
Yeah. So I don't look for anything special. I mean, there's nothing really. What the guy's going to get? Montezuma's revenge after drinking tap water. I mean, that's worst case scenario. I mean, steroids in the meat. We've seen that with some of these boxers down there. Like, oh no, it's from the meat's bad. They put steroids in the meat. But
all right, so there you go. So your betting pick for this one is look for Montezuma's revenge and steroids in the meat. But if you want to get really good picks from Sean Higgs, that's right, our very own Higgy Smalls, you can find him at picksandparlays.net. Find his free picks there and expert picks, folks. Lots of expert picks for your edification. All right, when we come back, the man, the myth, the legend. That's right, Chip Chicken Dinner Chirimbes coming up after the break.
Is here. Black Friday savings early now at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. U.S. only. While supplies last. Gas Dry Extra. See store for details. Valid through December 5th.
Tonight at 10 Eastern on CNBC, and all new Back in the Game.
Remember Ryan Lochte? At age 34, he's having to pack up his medals, downsize his home, face a very uncertain future. That's where I come in. I'm Alex Rodriguez. Now that I'm retired, I want to give back by helping ex-athletes and entertainers that damage their reputations and their finances and want to get back on their feet.
Why did you lie?
I didn't lie. Can Ryan rebuild his career and provide a stable life for his growing family?
Back in the Game, all new tonight, 10 Eastern, CNBC. Get yours.
Want to fly somewhere? Looking for cheap flights or cheap tickets? Then call. That's right. Call the low-cost airline travel hotline now for prices so low we can't publish them anywhere. Low-cost airlines has all kinds of cheap travel deals. Fly domestically and save up to 75%. You can even fly internationally and save even more. Yes, fly anywhere in the world and save a lot of money on your plane tickets. We'll even save you money with cheap travel deals on hotels, rental cars, even complete travel packages. So don't book your tickets until you call us first for the absolute cheapest prices on U.S. and international airline tickets and hotels. Call right now for prices so low they can't be published. Travel experts are here 24/7 to help. 800-754-4531. 800-754-4531. 800-754-4531. That's 800-754-4531.
Attention to anyone that's written a book or wants to write a book. The process is not that complicated. Take a first step. Even if you write a page a day, you'll build momentum and your book will become a reality. The hard part is getting it published. That's when you need to call Page Publishing. They've got hundreds and hundreds of thank yous from different new authors, just like you. They make the process of publishing your new book and getting it sold online a simple process. You can learn how simple it is right now by calling for your free Page Publishing New Author Submission Kit. One quick 3-minute phone call, that's all it takes to get free information and learn how you can get your book published. Pick up your phone right now and call us 24 hours a day at this number, 800-603-0885, 800-603-0885, 800-603-0885. That's 800-603-0885.
And we welcome you back to the show, Picks and Parlays, here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. Also streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, live video on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. By the way, if you miss any of this show, you can find the podcast up immediately at Believe Podcast Network, BLEAV. Or you can, of course, always find these videos, as I mentioned, on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. All right, well, welcome back. I'm your host, Nick Geber. Find me on Twitter at Nick Geber. I'd like to welcome to the show our star handicapper, 4-1 over the weekend. Congratulations. The man, the myth, the legend, fresh off of his cross-dressing Tuesday. Welcome to the show. Chip, Chicken Dinner, Chirimbes. It is indeed winner, Chicken Dinner. 4-1.
Well, 4-1 Sunday's not bad. The pros have been great. We're on the leaderboard almost everywhere, on top almost everywhere. But I did stub my toe with the big game on Saturday, and that's why my tie today is nothing but teardrops. I couldn't put egg on my face, Nick, but I'm certainly going to cry some tears for Alabama. But they weren't good enough. Neither was my selection, but we bounced back Sunday really strong.
But there was a reason that Alabama was not rated number one.
Well, you know what?
Maybe you learned a lesson.
I did learn a lesson, and this is the second straight big game I've seen Saban get out-coached. And he was totally outcoached. Going with Tua at quarterback was a big error.
Yeah.
Never should have come with him in that game. He wasn't ready. He couldn't play. Hadn't played in 4 weeks, and it showed.
Yeah, well, it did indeed. But we've collated 3 fabulous games for you today.
Ready.
Shall we start with West Virginia at K-State? West Virginia are 3-6 against the spread. They've lost 4 in a row to take them to 3-6 and 1-5 in conference play, which is kind of rubbishy. Wait a minute.
Go ahead.
K-State 6-3. Let me set it up for you.
Go ahead. No, you're doing well.
I'll set it up and then you can take it home.
Go ahead.
I'm the quarterback. I'm throwing you the ball and then you can run for the touchdown.
Well, with these hands, you're going to have a lot of completions.
Well, you look great in the evening gown though earlier. K-State 6-3, 7-2 against the spread, coming off a loss to the Texas Longhorns. Look, they may be top 25, but they are just 3-3 in conference play. What is it? K-State minus 14.5?
Yeah, because the Mountaineers, West Virginia has really been down the last couple seasons. Last year was horrid. This year is even worse. 3-5-1 against the number, and they've lost 5 in a row and only covered 1. Nick, this Kansas State team, they've covered 4 straight. They did get beat last week. It was one of my losses on Saturday. I had Texas. Texas blew a 10-point lead, a backdoor cover for the Wildcats. But they've won their last 4 against the points in conference play, though they're 3-3, you said, in conference play. But these two teams, when they get together, I don't know, they seem to be wild scoring affairs. And I think this Kansas State team's an excellent club. I really do. 14 is a huge number for them to begin with.
Go ahead. Let me hold you right there. I'm going to correct you, Chip.
What's that?
Because this is one thing that really
Go ahead.
chaps my hide.
Go
They're
ahead.
a school, Chip Chirimbes. They're not a club. They're a school, not a club.
No, there's a difference. This is America, bud. Baseball teams have clubs, soccer teams have clubs, and so do basketball teams, a squad
and
or a club.
schools have school teams. School.
I don't know about that, but I know that this game between these two programs. Franchise? No franchise. But I think West Virginia has a chance there because K-State has played 4 straight really tough games, and it's hard to come out 5 straight times in a row and beat the number. I think that West Virginia, they're able to take them a little lightly. They do have Baylor up front, so I'm going to take West Virginia plus the points against Kansas State.
All right, very nice. And by the way, you should listen to what Chip says, because every time I go to picksandparlays.net, we got our handicapper leaderboard right there.
Yes.
You are all over that leaderboard.
Well, we're off to a good start in the NBA. We had a nice big winner in college basketball last night, and tonight I have my first best bet of the season in college basketball, so somebody could log on to picksandparlays.net and get involved with the basketball. And you know what, Nick? If you get involved with the 30-day package, you get it all, and you don't have to go hunt and peck.
Well, hold on a minute. How about this one? For $4.49, you get the entire college basketball season all the way to the
I ought to join for myself.
Yeah, you ought to. Maybe you can get some picks off. I don't know. Maybe Higgy Smalls.
Well, get a winner anywhere with picks and parlays. You've got enough people that know how to win. That's for darn sure.
All right, Chip Chirimbes. All right, let's. Well, actually, let's leave Georgia till last, shall we?
Yes, we should.
We should tickle that one.
Yes, absolutely.
A little teaser. Georgia at Auburn coming up in just a second.
Okay.
In the meantime, Texas at Iowa State. Texas 6-3, 4-5 against the spread, coming off a 27-24 comeback win over Kansas State with that last gasp 26-yard field goal. They're still hopeful of making the Big 12 championship.
I'm not too happy with this Texas team. They let me down. one other time before.
Yeah, I know. You're crying. The tears. The tears. That's not tears of joy.
Tears
All right,
of
Iowa State 5-4, 6-3 against the spread, coming off a 42-41 loss to Oklahoma. Look, they're 3-1 against the spread in the last 5. This is Iowa State -6 with a total of 64. What say you, chicken dinner?
Well, early in the year, I thought Iowa State would be a contender in the Big 12 and Texas as well. Both of them fallen short of their aspirations, but their offenses haven't fallen short at all. Texas and Iowa State are both averaging 479 yards a game, and yet they haven't been able to stop opponents when they need to unless they're playing each other. Listen to these stats, Nick, because the last 13 times Texas played on grass, the score has gone under. The last 30 games in November. Now, and the reason I'll explain to you in a moment, 22-8 to the under in November. And that's because, Nick, this is conference play, the second half of the season. You're playing better defenses, better competition, and the scoring that you may have seen early in the year is more difficult to come by. And in the last 4 meetings between Iowa State and Texas have gone under the total as well. The defenses are where their difference is. Iowa State only gives up 350 yards, where Texas gives up almost 80 more per game. That equals 1 touchdown, which is the point spread here. Home team is 5-2 in the last 7, but I think the way to go between these two is to play the under because it has a history, and these two play the under, and it just seems that time of the year when this is the way it's supposed to come down.
All right. Well, Texas is 2-6 against the spread in the last 8 in the Big 12.
Yeah, and they hurt me because opening week I had them against LSU, who hurt me again. And
you're obviously not rating LSU. I mean, this is twice now you've made this mistake.
Yes, absolutely. And there were 2 big games, and I had no chance last Saturday, that's for sure, with Alabama. People were saying, what a great comeback they made in the second half. I didn't think they were ever in the game, and I don't think they deserve to be in the top 4 right now at all.
All right, well, we said we'd get to it, so let's do it, shall we? Chip, number 6, Georgia against Auburn. Number 11, Georgia 8-1, 5-4 against the spread. They improved to 8-1 with a 27-0 rout.
Yeah, but
Missouri. Jake Fromm has thrown 1,858 yards, 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Auburn 7-2 against the spread, coming off a 20-14 victory over Ole Miss. They're 7-1 against the spread in the last 8. I got Georgia -2.5 with a total of 45.5. What are you thinking of this one? This is definitely a game I'm going to tune into because I think just for entertainment value,
is a great game.
This should be a great one.
This is a great game. Georgia 8-1 with its only loss, of course, coming to South Carolina at home. Auburn lost to LSU in a really tough game, and of course lost to Florida, where we had the right side in that one as well. But, the favorite in this series, Nick, is 8-2 in the last 10 meetings, and Georgia's 5-1 when playing at Auburn. But there's some mitigating factors here. There's a lot of pressure on Georgia here. If they don't, they're number 4 in the country right now, Nick. If they don't win this game, they're done. They're done. They're not going to get in with 2 losses. And their offense, which you said put up 27 points, isn't the story with them. It's the defense. That 27 is the high that they've had in their last 5 games. The defense is the key for Georgia. They're only allowing, Nick, 260 yards per game, 2.8 yards per rush. And, Auburn has a pretty formidable defense as well. We saw what they did against LSU. They gave LSU a much tougher bout than the Crimson Tide did. They're only allowing 330 yards a game, 334 to be exact, and 3.3 yards per rush. So both these teams are primarily running teams, Nick. It's going to eat up the clock. Both teams play defense against the run, which you've seen. Auburn may have trouble moving the ball through the air. Bo Nix is more of a runner than a passer. This quarterback, who everyone wanted in the nation, is only at 56% on the season. So Georgia will have an advantage there, but Georgia doesn't put up many points either. So I see this game staying under the total. The last 6 meetings, gone under 5 times, and in the last 4 conference games, Georgia has gone under. Georgia hasn't allowed more than 2 scores in any of their last 4 games. I think this game is destined to stay under the total, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, 2 teams with great defense, right? I mean, you're right. I did mention the 27-0 rout over Missouri, but keep in mind, they kept Missouri to 0 to the Big O, right?
And neither of the teams are really explosive like teams in the past. So we saw the speed with Alabama. We saw the speed with LSU. There's speed with those great teams out there. I don't see it with these 2 teams. I don't see that breakaway power. Yeah. And I think the game is destined to stay under the total.
Well, nice. Look forward to it. So this is certainly one I will be tuning into.
Yeah, we got to watch this.
Yeah, so we had 3 games. Let's just recap these very quickly.
Sure.
West Virginia, K-State. We had K-State. You on this one were taking minus 14.5?
No, I'm taking plus 14.5. I'll take West Virginia.
You're taking Virginia plus 14.5.
Because I'm seeing the Wildcats having been a little stressed after covering 4 straight times.
Okay, taking West Virginia plus 14.5. The Iowa State, Texas at Iowa State.
That game should stay under the total. They've gone under predominantly against each other, and this time of the year, Texas particularly, 13-4 to the under.
All right, so taking the under 64.
Right.
And finally, Georgia at Auburn. You're taking the under.
You got it. You have to, with these
yeah.
two teams allowing 260 yards and 280 yards apiece. They're not allowing anyone to run the ball. 2.8 yards against Georgia, 3.3 yards against Auburn. This game should stay under the total.
So what's your special play at picksandparlays.net
well,
right now?
Right now we've got a great college basketball game. We're tipping off the season. Our first best bet of the year tonight between Ohio State and Villanova. So that starts at 7 Eastern, so log on to that one.
What was Villanova's last result?
Villanova has won 1 game. They beat Army. It was like 94 to 64. Army only shot like 29%. But there's going to be a little difference on the court tonight when they get out there. And the games are pick 'em. Yeah, the games are pick 'em, and we'll see. Ohio State did beat Cincinnati at home and then had a push over Lowell, Massachusetts in their last one. So this would be an interesting matchup. And the LSU VCU game starts at 6 Eastern. We have another early bird winner for you there. That's all on picksandparlays.net. And, of course, we're going to have football on Thursday.
Yeah.
And I passed Thursday tonight. And our NFL Thursday nights have been absolutely outrageous, 8-2 on the year. And another big winner coming up this Thursday night.
All right, very quickly, this one kind of fascinates me a bit. We did the Jags Colts with Sean and Higgy Smalls.
Yes.
This actually an interesting, for me, for some reason, this is an interesting game. It's just the record.
You know why you find it interesting? Because you think Jacksonville's home base is London.
Yeah.
And you think they're the British team in the NFL.
Maybe.
That's the reason. But, Jacksonville, of course, got the...
Although, actually, I think it's supposed to be the San Diego Chargers.
No, Chargers aren't going anywhere.
The Chargers not going anywhere.
The Chargers aren't going anywhere. And well, they're in L.A. now anyway. They're not even San Diego Chargers
I know,
anymore.
Come on, Chip. You know you want to call them
that.
Very quickly, give me this one.
I think the Colts can bounce back, even with Brissett down. This may end up being a defensive game, but I think the Colts can bounce back. They were shocked by Miami last week.
All right. Now, was it the Jags? Which is the no? The papers were saying that it was the LA Chargers that were looking for, not the Chargers.
Yeah, they had said they tried to run the story up that they were going to send the Chargers to London, and the owner came out and says, "There's no way, no how, we're not going anywhere." They
signed a contract for that $4 billion stadium. They're going to share it with the Rams.
I mean, they're not in the best situation in LA where they're playing right now, but
they're playing at the former Home Depot Center, where I was there, by the way, my dad.
And Jacksonville plays their games on aircraft carrier, for crying out loud. I've been down there. It's terrible.
Well, with some of those Jacksonville players, they need the aircraft carrier so they can get into international waters, so they don't get arrested while the game's going on.
When they had the Super Bowl in Jacksonville, they had to bring actually cruise ships in because they didn't have enough hotel room space.
Wow.
That's why Las Vegas is going to be a perfect spot for the Super Bowl.
We'll look forward to the Raiders here. All right, you have it. There's Chip Chicken Dinner Chirimbes. You've got his picks, and of course you can find him at picksandparlays.net, his expert picks, and of course, folks, we've got loads of free picks for you up on the site as well. All right, up next, I'm going to recap all the picks from today. If you don't have a pen and paper and you haven't written it down, this is a good time, unless you're driving, okay? If you're driving, just go back, check out the podcast, or even better, go to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and find the replay of the show. All right, I'll be right back after this.
Once again, that's 800-932-5517.
We paid less for our Craftmatic today than we did 20 years ago.
If you're still searching for the perfect solution to a good night's sleep, call now for prices and free information on today's Craftmatic adjustable beds. And then decide when you see how little they cost. Rated #1 by consumers nationwide on consumeraffairs.com. Craftmatic beds come in all mattress types, including cool gel memory foam for up to 50% less than today's leading memory foam brand. Enjoy temporary relief of low back pain, poor circulation, nighttime heartburn, mild arthritis. You'll sleep better in a Craftmatic adjustable bed. So if you're still searching for the perfect solution to a good night's sleep, call now for prices and information. And then decide when you see how little they cost. Discover Craftmatic for less, up to 50% less than today's leading memory foam brand.
Call 1-800-371-9608. That's 1-800-371-9608. Call 1-800-371-9608. Call now.
Do you owe $10,000 or more on at least 2 federal student loans? Then you may qualify for new programs offered by the Department of Education. These programs can reduce your interest, lower your payments, and possibly qualify you for loan forgiveness. If you have $10,000 or more and at least 2 federal student loans and currently not in school, you may qualify for one of these programs. Call now to check your eligibility. Student loan advisors are standing by to help you determine if you qualify for these new programs. They can help you reduce your interest, lower your payment, and even forgive a portion of your student loan debt. Take control of your financial future. Make this free 5-minute free call now to Nationwide Student Loans and learn how you can reduce your student loan debt.
800-439-7851. 800-439-7851. 800-439-7851. 800-439-7851.
And you're back with us here on Picks and Parlays on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. Just a reminder, we're here with you each and every weekday from 4 p.m. East Coast time to 1 p.m. on the left coast. That starts at 1, ends at 2, so begins at 4, ends at 5. I'll do the time conversion for you. I'm your host, Nick Geber. Find me on Twitter at Nick Geber. I'm in for Chelsea Messenger, who's off having a baby, and we wish her the best. You can have a little money baby of your own, though, if you follow our picks for the day. And so I will recap them for you. So let's start. We started with Craigulation time, and El Guapo Craig Trapp gave us his picks. Michigan State at Seton Hall, take Seton Hall plus 7.5. And then we had a couple NBA picks from Craig. Mavericks at Knicks, we said take the Mavs minus 6.5. And the Hawks at the Suns, take the Hawks plus 8. Then we had Deshaun. That's right. He loves it when they call him Hig Daddy. Sean Higgs, free NFL picks. Cardinals at 49ers, take the 49ers minus 11. Bills at Dolphins, take the Bills minus 5.5. The Jags at the Colts, take those Jags plus 3. And finally, Chip Chirimbes, chicken dinner chip. That's right, gives us the winners. Georgia at Auburn, take under 40.5. West Virginia at Kansas State, take West Virginia plus 14. And finally, Texas at Iowa State, take the under 66.5. Those were our picks from our expert handicappers. And I would like to remind you that we have not 1, not 2, not 3. We have 35 expert handicappers at picksandparlays.net. All sports are covered, everything from NHL, NBA, NFL, college football, everything. Soccer, you name it. Speaking of soccer, by the way, that's at picksandparlays.net. If you like listening to me, and I know you do because you're a very clever person, honestly, tune in tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Sirius XM 211, Dan Patrick Sports. I'll be hosting my daily show there, Fifth Street Soccer. Be sure to tune in. I'll give you all the best of the beautiful game. In the meantime, I'll be back here with you tomorrow. Actually, I won't. Chelsea Messenger will be back tomorrow, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, for more Picks and Parlays. Until then, bet, win, repeat.